Retro Rock plays everything.
Hello there, ladies and germs. Today I have for you the PMP II, which is another one of those PSP look-alike game systems. However, this is a viewer request, so hopefully it will be as excellent as the viewer thought it might be. So on the front we got the usual thing. Nice, they put Metal Slug on there. Kind of like that. Something it can actually run for once. On the side, something it can't run. And the PMP II logo. On the back we have some cutouts from other games. We've got a nice diagram, look at that, of the select and start button. Nice that they broke that away so you know what they were. On the side it says 32-bit OS. Support arcade game. That's a good sign. Plus GBA, plus SFC and SNES. Sega, plus Famiclone. Famicom. I can't even say Famicom anymore. I just say Famiclone. NES game series. That said, it is a Famiclone at this point. Ultra large capacity support for TF card. HD Weirdo. Music playing. Or Vito. Picture browsing and ebook. Oh, Jesus. Support multi-languages, as it probably should because it's from China. The bottom looks horrible, and the top looks pretty decent. Let's unbox this, shall we? Here we go. What do you think's inside? It's been so long since I ordered this thing, I forgot what color I ordered. Ooh, it's white. Actually, it looks really nice. Weight's not bad either. Shoulder buttons work. What the heck? What is this madness? Alright. One charging cable without... Nope, no plug or anything in there. One PMP II instruction manual. Wow. 3.0-inch TFT screen. Oh, man. I'm not going to read it to you because, man, it's tiny. But it does appear to be in fairly decent English on the inside. This is a lot like another one I reviewed a while back. I'll have to put the name of that one up in the corner. It has about the same quality feel to it, too, which is not too bad. Sorry about the jump cut. First impressions are starting to fade. It does feel good, and it does look nice. However, there's a couple things here. The D-pad, if I press here, notice how the press forward is pressing at about the same time. That worries me a little bit. It doesn't feel great, honestly, this D-pad. This is a reset button, volume up, volume down. I like the way I just hissed into the next part of that. This is a reset button. Cobra Commander there. Okay, and then we've got select and start. You can barely make it out through the labeling, so it's, you know, it is built using kind of a cheap plastics process. The plastics themselves don't feel bad though. A, B, and bizarrely C, D. Ooh, you can see me through there. Wow, that kind of makes sense. A, B, C, D. But it's not how I'd expect it. You see how it's A, B, C, and D. You expect it to be C, D, right? So somebody doesn't really play games that design this, I'm guessing. Alright, there's a power light, there's a charging light on separate sides of the unit. There are two what appear to be completely functional shoulder buttons. Not bad. My understanding is that this is just a headphone jack right here, which is a big deal for me because I would like that to be a video out, if possible. Next, we do have an SD card, a micro SD card here, and it's labeled, yeah, you're going to be cracking up. It says it's Kingston. You think that's real Kingston? Actually, here, I'm going to show, wait, here. I'm going to show you it. So you experts out there, tell me whether you think it's real or not. I am not a SD card authenticity expert, but I would seriously question whether that's a real Kingston or not. Next, we have a mini USB connector. Wow, you don't see those a lot anymore, except on Famiclones. So, yeah, it's got the mini style connector instead of the micro. It's kind of weird, huh? This is an improved sliding mechanism from many. Notice how it has these, wait, let's get a little bit closer. It's got these little tongues in it. So when you slide it, it doesn't immediately fall off. You actually have to kind of wiggle it. Very nice. I'm pretty sure that is a Game Boy battery. As I recall, almost all these have that in it. On the bottom, there's nothing. Nothing here, except for a power switch, right? Oops, sorry. Power switch. Nothing on the other side. I don't think this thing has a camera. Alright, let's try some games out. And here we are at the main menu. We have game, music, video, picture, ebook, file manager, of course, and system settings. Okay, so here we are on video. You can set your play settings here and play videos here. It has some videos on its own disc. By some I mean one. I'm only going to roll this for about a second because it's got some copyright music on it. But it does a pretty good job. And the screen's clear enough that it looks pretty decent on it, so not bad. Picture viewer. Same thing. There's some pictures on here. Very nice. Ebook. I don't know why you would want to view an ebook on here, but it does have the function. I'm pulling the Tale of Two Cities off of an SD card. I mean, it works good enough. It does say it views PDFs. I found with these that it wouldn't read mine, but there might be some formats that it does read. I just haven't discovered one yet, even though it claims to. Okay, file manager. Hitting A goes down a level. Now let's go to my SD card here. And if I, oops, wait, let's not do that one. Let's go to a game. And if I choose a file and hit A again, I will get the option to open, copy, delete, or move. Pretty easy file manager. You know, it's not like it's not like the best way to manage anything, but it's nice that they gave you the feature. You know, if you find you've got a bum ROM or something, you can just delete it right there. Or if you need to move something, you know, you can move it. So it's nice that they provide it. Desktop settings is the usual. You've got several different themes. You can change the language. Oh, goodness. Sounds. So, oh, that's horrible. Man. How about 3? Let's go with off. There we go. Backlight. Oh, wait. Backlight time. That's the brightness. And then there's the time until it turns the screen off, so you can set it to 30 seconds. Right now I've got it on always on because I'm recording, but I'll set it back to 30 seconds when I'm done. System settings basically has a recovery system. If you go to UDisk, it does nothing, so it doesn't really do anything. Alright, let's go on to the games. And here we have the game section. There's 3 sections here: arcade, UDisk, and SD card. Note that the SD card that I got came full of Game Boy Advance games that you can play. I've kind of modified that now so I can show you a few things, but note that it was filled with games, like over 200 individual ones. So not bad. Actually, I think it was about 130 individual ones. If I'm wrong about that, correct me down below. Okay, so there's this arcade section. It's kind of small, but hey, at least you can play Cadillacs and dinosaurs. And, you know, if you can play that, who cares about anything else, really? So here's a little test of it. It's got a couple Capcom games on it. It does do a really good job. Oh man, it's loud, sorry. It does do a really good job of playing them. Heck yeah. Woohoo! I'm pretty smooth. Oh yeah. I really do like this game quite a bit. Oh, got my butt kicked there. Well, I'm about to get it. I guess I should go. Hey, there's one behind me. Come on. Ooh, cheeseburger. Look at the size of that cheeseburger. Holy crap, that was gigantic. Get lost or lose teeth. Oh, I just punched the dinosaur. Come on. Oh no! I might not make it. Which is weird. And I'm down. Let's play something else. Something I want to go a little bit deeper into real quick is the built-in games versus SD card games. Number one, I want to note that things that you put on the SD card have to be arranged in the proper folders. I will put the proper folder locations to the right of the screen right now if they're not already. Make sure that you put games in the game folder, in the root of the game folder, music in the music folder, etc., etc. I've done other videos on this, so if you want to check out one of my other clone videos, I go into it in detail. I don't think it's something that's too hard, but if you do have questions, don't be afraid to ask in the comments below. The U-Disc, it does claim to have 1001 games. Of course, it's the same games repeated over and over again. That said, it's a pretty interesting collection of games, and it's pretty good. And it is a bunch of different types of systems represented. So I like that quite a bit. I want to note that on the left side you can see that it actually has some pictures of the games that you'll be playing. They're more or less accurate, some more than others. The Nintendo stuff is often not accurate. But one thing I want to show you as far as what's in here is they have the Holy Diver game, which was never released in the US, and you never see Holy Diver in a collection. And this is the first time I've ever seen it on one of these multi, so that's pretty cool. It does have some games that you generally don't see. Alright, let's get back to the general bulk of the video. Hitting start and select in any game will bring you to the save state menu. So you hit save state, you can save a slot, and delete them if you want, and restore them. You can return to your game or quit afterwards. The only thing you can't do is adjust the keys or any of the video settings. That's too bad. Okay, so I showed you arcade. But the PMP3 also supports NES, Super NES, Game Boy Advanced, and the Genesis. And it's actually pretty good at the Genesis. Let me show you a couple here. Oops. I said, let me show you a couple here. Yeah, that's how it's going. All right, let's take a look. I'm going to show you Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed first. And the reason I'm going to show you this is because this runs like crap on almost every Game Boy Advanced emulator I've run. However, the PMP3, it runs really good. Alright, we're running onto one of the problems. It does not remember your volume control level. So, and you gotta hit like 5,000 times for it to get down to a level that's reasonable. There we go. Actually, it seems like it just takes a shorter press, or a longer press, instead of a flurry of shorter presses. But anyway, it's annoying. It really should remember your volume level. There we go. Okay, let's press start. And I'm just gonna real quick. Woohoo. Mr. Triple A Racer. Start race. And it plays just fine. That is crazy. These 3D racing games generally run like crap on these, but on this, it runs perfect. I mean, it's indistinguishable from running it on an actual Game Boy Advance, except for the kind of skewed video due to the different size of the screen. But it really does run it great. Color me impressed. Woohoo! And see how fast it feels though? I mean, really, this is how the original game felt. Pretty darn fast. Woo! I have but one goal, and that's to overtake this guy. There we go. Alright, let's take a look at something else. By the way, if you want to get to the main menu, you can hit this reset button right here. It will bring you back to the main menu. Abadox. This, of course, is the NES, which this device also plays quite well. You very seldom run into a device that doesn't run NES well, but it does happen every once in a while. I've mentioned a couple machines that, for whatever reason, could run much more powerful systems, but did not run. Boy, I am really playing like crap here. But could not run the NES very well. But I'm happy to report that it does play this just fine. This is actually a pretty solid game too. If you like shooters, check this one out. I'm playing it terribly. It isn't as hard as I was making it look, honestly. It's kind of in the middle. Alright, let's go look at SNES real quick. SNES. The Super Nintendo is actually better emulated on this than it is on many of these handheld consoles. However, it's not perfect. The Mario games, for example, they show some significant problems with like the sound cutting out and some skippiness during play. That said, again, this is way better performance that I've got out of most of them, even some of my favorites. So it's really pretty good. Ooh. Too bad the sound has to come through this thing's speaker. Oh, come on. I'm getting my butt kicked. Come on. You forget how much bigger characters got later on in the system's life. These guys look so tiny now. There we go. Yeah, let's get on the second floor. He's just sitting in a corner. What the heck? Oop, I died. Alright, let's go look at the Genesis. Genesis, let's take a look at Road Rash, which has wreaked some havoc on these systems in the past. And I'm going to tell you something. Works pretty darn good. The only bad thing about this is I have to press the D button way at the top to accelerate and the B button to smack people. Bad placement. And there's no way to remap the keys so far as I have found. All the usual suspects for getting to that have failed. Come on. But look at how smooth it is. It runs it really well. Oops, I'm way off. Ooh. Alright, back to it. Even though Game Boy and Game Boy Color games are not listed, you can use Goomba Color to run them, and they run okay for the most part. Not every Game Boy Color game will run, but most of the Game Boy regular games seem to work pretty darn well on the thing. Here we go. Hurry up. Show them the game. There we go. Two, one, go. As you can see, ooh, boosting. I'm all over the road. But it works well enough. More importantly, if I hit the two shoulder buttons, I can actually go into the menu, which I can't in some other game systems. So that's a nice plus. Not bad. Okay, so the verdict on the PMP II. Well, of course, it's a mixed bag, as these often are. The general plastic quality is mediocre. It's not terrible, it's not great, it's right down the center. The edge buttons actually are really good, which is unusual for these devices. While I did not like the D-pad or the buttons at first, during gameplay they worked perfectly fine and I had no real issues with them. So they were responsive. You know, that's becoming really common among these. They definitely are, you know, getting better with this. Back cover. This little slide-off system really helps a lot. One of the common problems with the fake PSPs is the back kind of just falling off while you're playing. That didn't happen during testing on this guy. Not too bad. Volume is pretty darn loud on it, but as you probably heard during the testing, kind of tinny. One note that I might not have made before: this is not like a button that slides back by itself. It's not a momentary switch. This is just an on-off switch. So just note that. I know some people care about that stuff based on comments before, but all in all, the construction, the sound, the screen is really nice and bright. Okay, so emulation on this thing is pretty good, honestly, for the stuff that they list. I mean, it's, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but it definitely has better than average Super Nintendo emulation. I had problems with some of the actual Mario games on it. They weren't perfect. The music would chop up a little bit, and gameplay would slow down at times. But it's not bad. It's not really. It's definitely not the worst I've seen. It's probably among the best that I've seen for Super Nintendo. But you might want to have a friend that has one of these. Check it out first if you're buying it for a specific game. The Sega Genesis was really good. I'm very impressed with its emulation there. I threw some games at it that generally will choke other systems. It did not choke this. It ran it really pretty well. NES, same thing, ran really well over and over again. Game Boy Advance, it was well above average. Again, I threw some games that generally choke some of these systems at it, and it went through them like a champ. Now, none of these things is 100%, okay? It's more like 85%, but for this kind of device, that's really on the high end. As far as Game Boy Color and Game Boy games go, you will definitely need Goomba to do that, at least you did on this version. I've noticed that some advertisers are now listing this as having Game Boy and Game Boy Color support. I will tell you that in this case at least, it definitely did not pick up those ROMs by default. I had to convert them into GBA format or use a GBA emulator to emulate them using Goomba. And of course, I've got some links down below on how you can do that. You know, when you're doing that, by the way, that is not the best way to run those games. So it's going to be a definite mixed bag whether they perform well or run at all. So just so you know, even though the games that I showed you ran pretty well, not all of them are going to. All right. Finally, a couple issues that I have with it. There's no video out. Video out is really common on these. If it's not a big deal to you, then that's okay. But if you're expecting to play this on a TV, you're not going to be able to do it. The other thing I found is that when I hook this sucker up to my computer, it would not show me the SD card. So it's supposed to act like an SD card reader, but it absolutely didn't for me. Now, your mileage may vary, but I put it in several different devices, and I've got a Mac and another PC. Didn't work on any of them. Didn't pick it up on any of them, even though it does display on the screen that it is in USB mode. So something to note. It might just be for flash updates. That's quite possible that that's all it does on there. But no, it did not work for me. Happy that it has the micro SD reader, but of course remember to format it properly to get games to run. And that's about it. All in all, it's going to get a thumb sideways. It's on the high end of prices. I mean, you can pay anywhere from $35 to about $60 for this device. It has to go up against this guy in that price range, and quite honestly, despite its horrible name, the PAP is pretty much undefeated in that particular price range. So again, it's a good system. It actually runs some things better than this one, but it's a little bit less stable. So thumb sideways. I do like it, but again, still in the same price range as this, it doesn't beat it. All right. Thank you very much for watching this. If you enjoyed it, please do me a favor, give me a thumbs up, subscribe for more, tell your friends, and share this sucker. See ya.
Retro Rocks Gaming Videos.